Hello, welcome back to my channel. I'm just gonna get into this video because this is kind of different than anything I've ever done before, and it is a book haul. I know that these are definitely things that other people do online, but I've just never done a book haul before because I don't go out and buy lots of books at one time usually. I just buy one book at a time, or I go to the little library a lot, but I don't buy a ton of books all at once, except I went to Barnes & Noble, the Barnes & Noble Buy Me. I mean, I'm all for supporting small local independent bookstores, but the Barnes & Noble that is close to me has a huge children's section. It is beautiful. The displays are so stunning, and if you get a Barnes & Noble membership, I guess it's like you get a bunch of stuff for your kids. You get points and rewards for your children. But while I was there, I also bought a lot of books. But you know what? I've been looking for different things to read. I'm feeling the autumnal vibes. So let me just get started. This is the longest intro ever, and I'm already so bad at intros. The first book that I got is Misery by Stephen King, and there's a specific reason. Part of it is because it's kind of autumnal spooky season. On my Stephen King review of Billy Summers, somebody commented something about the book Misery, and I realized that I'd never read it. I feel like a lot of people actually consider this one of Stephen King's best books, and I've never read it, so I'm really excited to read it. I've also never seen the movie, so I probably will watch that after I read this. I'm very excited for the whole experience. I think I might document reading this for the first time, so let me know below if you would like to see a reading vlog of me reading Misery for the first time. I don't really know. I just think it would be kind of fun and interesting, and it's definitely putting me in like the Halloween autumnal spirit. And so I think this is actually going to be the first book of these that I read because I'm so excited. The next book that I have is another book that a lot of people have been raving about, and it's not an old classic like Misery, but I think it came out last year, and that is The Guest List by Lucy Foley. Well, it is a New York Times bestseller, but I also remember a lot of people just raving about this, and it's about like a wedding that takes place on a little island in Ireland, off the coast of Ireland. I think I might be getting that wrong, but I believe it's about like a wedding that's taking place on a little island off the coast of Ireland. I thought that that would be a cool read. I'm actually going to Ireland kind of soon, so I thought that this would be an interesting read. It's also supposed to be like a mystery kind of horror vibes, so I also thought that this would just be really great for autumn, fall again, spooky season. I don't know. I guess I just wanted to pick a bunch of like kind of spooky, creepy books, and that's okay. That's what I'm in the mood for. 'Tis the season. But yeah, this is supposed to be a really great book. I think it's like a murder mystery, and I'm really excited to read it. Please don't spoil it, but let me know below if you've read it, if you enjoyed it, because I'm very excited. I still have 3 more books to get through, but the next book that I got is actually a blind date book. I never really seen anything like this before, but it's basically, here, I don't know if you can see that. It's basically like a blind book that you buy, you purchase, and you don't know what book it is, but it has a few bullet points about it. So for example, this is a horror book, again, kind of what I'm feeling right now, and it has dark childhood fantasies, a unique premise, contemporary fantasy, and illustrations by the author, which sounds super intriguing to me. So I was like, okay, let's get this. I don't know what it is. I'm opening it for the first time on camera. So if you're interested in doing something like this, then you can know what to expect. Kind of feels like my birthday. Oh, interesting. This is a book I've never heard of called The Thief of Always by Clive Barker. Okay, interesting. I've never heard of this book. I've never heard of this author, but as I said, that description kind of intrigued me. Mr. Hood's holiday house has stood for 1,000 years, welcoming countless children into its embrace. It is a place of miracles where every childhood whim may be satisfied. There is a price to be paid, of course. But young Harvey Swick, bored with his life and beguiled by Mr. Hood's wonders, does not stop to consider the consequences. It is only when the house shows its darker face, when Harvey discovers the pitiful creatures that dwell in its shadows, that he comes to doubt Mr. Hood's philanthropy. It almost looks like it's a hybrid, like adult children's young adult book. Maybe I'm wrong about that, but it's got like, yeah, it almost seems like it is like a hybrid book. Like it's could be for adults or for children, just judging by the format, the font size, the pictures. So I'm actually kind of intrigued to give this a read. I don't know what order I'm going to read these in, but I think I'm going to read Misery first. This might be number 2, or maybe I'll like read it closer to Halloween. I don't know. This seems like definitely mad Halloween vibes. Like this is such a Halloween vibe. Just even look at like the cover. That's a vibe. So the last 2 books I have here are definitely kind of different books. I've never read anything by John Green. I'm not a huge like YA reader anymore because I am an adult and it just doesn't interest me that heavily. So I've actually never read anything by John Green. But I picked this up because, and I'm dying to read it. I'm so excited. It's called The Anthropocene Reviewed. It's like a bunch of like kind of rambling short story things by John Green. But I'll tell you first why I bought it is because I saw Johnny Harris talk about it and interview John Green in a video, and it sounded fascinating. It was a video about basically the evolution of the grocery store, like the modern grocery store and the Piggly Wiggly, and I'm gonna like leave a link to that video somewhere around here. He doesn't need me to give him views, but like you should watch it because it's so good. And also, side note, I have like very quietly become a Johnny Harris stan. I think that his content is so well produced and interesting, and I feel like he takes those questions I wonder about like at breakfast or before bed, and he just super delves into them and makes great videos about them. And I feel like he's just like quietly become one of my favorite YouTubers. But that aside, this book just sounded so interesting when John Green was talking about it. And like I said, I haven't actually read any of his other books, and so I don't know what his like YA voice is like. So basically, this book is an expansion of John Green's podcast, which again, I've also never listened to. I don't know like much about it. He's basically talking about the age of humans and how we are just absolutely like dominating the planet right now. And it's kind of a bunch of, from what I understand, it's a bunch of random musings and essays on different components related to that. Everything to our effect on biodiversity to like why the keyboard looks the way it does on our computers. Obviously, that sounds like such a good time. I had to get it. I'm so excited to read it. It's gonna be great. The last book that I'm going to talk about is called The Happiest Kids in the World by Rena Mae Acosta and Michelle Hutchison. This is probably of no interest to most people watching this, but it's like kind of a parenting type book, and it's talking about how Dutch parents raise their kids, and a big component of that is like doing less, being less intense, giving your kids more freedom, not having them be at so many structured activities, letting them really do a lot more for themselves. And I feel like this is, I'm not like a big parenting book person, I just am like a go with the flow person, but I feel like this is kind of a good read. I don't know. I'm like, definitely it's worth exploring a culture that has such happy children and such well-adjusted children and adults, frankly. And I feel like it's just worth exploring that. There's probably a lot of reasons that are beyond our personal control. Like they've got better social safety nets, they've got definitely a more equal society, and I'm sure that definitely plays a big part. But I'm very excited to read this because I also think that the attitudes related to your parenting and attitudes related to your children are massive, obviously, in what kind of kids you raise and what kind of relationship you have with those children. So I'm like super excited to read this. Kind of a dorky pick. That's basically it for this book haul. This is a really new kind of video for me. I don't know if I'll do a lot more of these. As I said, I don't usually buy like 5 books at a time. But you know what? Cozy season is coming up and I feel like there's nothing better. December, January, it's rainy, it's a little chilly. Nothing better than curling up with a good book. It's just unbeatable. But anyway, that's it for my fall book haul. Please like, please subscribe, and let me know below if you have read any of these books or if you're interested in any of these books. I will see you later. If I was out of focus this entire time, that is gonna be so disappointing.